Hello everyone, welcome to a World of Warships video. Today's video is the, well, it's a tier 7 British light cruiser against a whole lot of heavy ships. Let's see how that turns out. This is probably one of those sessions where I hopped in the cruisers to basically do a bit of a reset. So what I'll try and do is, the second time I've recorded this, I don't really run a script, and the first time was way disjointed. So I'm going to try and cover off some topics related to the matchmaking, the balance, new ship lines, and let's see how I go. Right, so on the matchmaking, one of the things that I have seen out there is a lot of complaints, especially in Reddit, around the matchmaking. What I do encourage people is keep a diary. If you really struggle with the matchmaking, keep a diary to see how often you really actually pull bung teams. And pulling a bung team means it's actually really rare. Sometimes there are games where you just sit there and say, oh no, this is not going to work, this is not going to work. But sometimes you'll be surprised. So I have a video where I am driving the Le Terrible, which is a tier 8 destroyer, and we have 2 tier 6s on our team, and we win. They played their part, they did their thing. So, and the tier 4 Italian tech tree cruiser has a video that I've just recently uploaded where we had a tier 2 Weymouth in the game and we won. So it's not just the failed divisions, it's the bigger problem is just getting on the team with someone who doesn't know what their battleship is for, or someone like me who sort of rushes a little bit further ahead in the cruiser and gets stuff like that done to them. So that's your bigger problem. I think that the matchmaking, it is an online game and you are going to get variable sort of player capabilities. I would probably challenge this assertion that the matchmaking MM. I was going to call it mobile something, but anyway, the matchmaking is defective. I think the matchmaking does the best with what it can, and what you've got is variability of players. Now, one of the things that I have noticed is that when the matchmaking appears to be against me and I have a big losing streak, when I really truly reflect on it, it is me being absolutely sort of just losing it with the so what happens is you get this sort of need, this desperation that builds in, and you start making basic mistakes. And what I find is that I have a default line that I'll just swing straight back into, which is this British cruiser line. Man, that looks like that was going to miss, but gotta love a guy who overturns. But anyway, so what I do is I hop on the British cruisers, go out, smash a few destroyers in, and then sort of gets me back on the equilibrium. So I do have a tendency to view the matchmaking issues that people seem to raise as more potentially a reflection of frustration building in as they play the game, or just having the misfortune to have got a bit of a bung team. Right, and that's the players, not the ships. Right, so that's that. Talking about balance, one of the things I've been wanting to say for some time is that I'm actually really appreciating the balance in the game. I've been watching a lot of World of Warship PC game videos, and we don't have the perennial sort of overpowered ships. Now we have the Roma. The Roma is overpowered. We have Saipan, which is fairly powerful, and the Kaga are fairly powerful against some of the other carriers at the same tier. So there are ships that have a high power stake. Also, things like the Molotov can be effective when used correctly. The Belfast is obviously extremely frustrating to play against, but the real test of an overpowered ship is, would you use it 2 tiers above its current tier? For the Roma, would I use the Roma in a tier 10 battle? Yes, I would. Would I be happy to use the Belfast in a tier 9 battle? Not so sure. So I hope that sort of puts things a little bit in perspective. But we don't have like Smolensk, we don't have the Kremlins and things like that, which just seem to be names that come up again and again and again. And when they have introduced ships, now some of the ships do, it is a complex game and it's hard to get right. And so, for example, what I've been doing on the press account is looking to try and create a series of tier 10 videos for the cruisers so that I can provide the benefits of the different cruisers of tier 10. Not that I'm actually capable enough player to make those assessments. But what I have found is that when I've picked up the Zao looks like a ship that once would have been really fearsome, but the new ships in the game with their high reloads, absolutely the Zao feels pretty strung out. So it's got crazy torpedo angles. It's got the most insane torpedo angles of any ship that I have actually played in the game, including, yes, the Yubari or the Akizuki. Its torpedoes angles are better, but they come off a weird part of the ship. And its guns are powerful enough. Its guns are sort of conventionally located in 4 turrets, but it just takes an age for them to become available again, and they just don't have the smashing power or the fire setting power or whatever power it is to so it doesn't really stake a place for itself in the game. Like the Hindenburg, which I played, and I've got a video of that successfully done, that definitely has its place. Sure, people may feel that it's struggling a little bit, but you know, it still has its those heavy guns and the heavy armor does sort of put it into its own position. The Minotaur obviously is unique and has its own place, but the Zao, yeah, the Zao's an example of how complicated the game is. So they may balance it up, and usually they do. Good on Wargaming for doing that, little tweaks, and those little tweaks often make quite a big difference. Like the Izumo, I think, got quite a minor tweak, and my vitriol of that ship is reduced quite substantially, even though I can't actually remember what the tweak was. Still. So, yeah, it's my feeling of the state of play with regards to the matchmaker is that, yeah, the matchmaking, it is a, you know, you do get the odd bung game, but 6-minute games, there's no cause for complaint. Finally, there are occasionally people that sit there and talk about the player base disappearing. So I play in the evening in New Zealand, which means I'm playing early morning in the States with the server is. So if you're in New York and you're playing about 2 o'clock in the morning, then hey, you know, you might see me playing around. I don't remember the same weights that I used to have to put up with maybe 18 months ago. So where getting a game would actually take, you know, it could take 2 or 3 minutes, and often it was strings of a minute or 2 or 3 minutes at a time waiting for games. I'm just not seeing that at the moment. So for those people that are raising concerns around the player base, I just think it's rumour mongering. Maybe the matchmaking does throw people into all bot matches a little bit more often to try and avoid unbalance. I don't know the answer to that. But yeah, my sense is that the game seems to be fairly healthy. We do see the same players, but when you go and look through the leaderboard list, for example, you see a whole lot of new names. So there must be a huge player base there. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed that video. Thanks for watching.